I get started. So today I'm gonna do this amazing UI, and this is actually gonna look at this simple music player actually duplicating what you can see on the screen. So as you can see on the screen, I have two pictures in here, and here we're actually looking at this where we're gonna actually design this from scratch, and we'll have a first page which is gonna be the get started page, and from the get started page you move down to the music player, and this is going to help you in most of your project and also to master your UI design development in Flutter. So I think this is a great opportunity to actually take your time and then also have a flair at how this is going to be done, and it's going to be developed from scratch. Let's get started. So I'm going to actually step into my let me use my terminal, and then first let me use I cd into my desktop first, and then let me see, desktop, and then let me create the project here on my desktop. That will be very fast. So I run the flutter create command, and create, and then the name is just gonna be music app. Let me keep it simple. So music, and then I add app. Okay, correct. All right, so the project, it's done. Very good. So this is the music app. So I just drag this into my VS Code, and what I'm going to do first is to create an asset folder, which is very important. And let me create this asset asset folder. Good. So in this folder, where did I do that? Oh no, you don't need to create it here. Let me delete it, move to, let me use the folder here. So I create assets. Perfect. Okay, here is good. So inside our music app, I'm gonna actually place this these two assets inside a music app. This is just gonna be the cover for our app. So I have this in there. What we'll do is to step into the pushback.yaml and make sure we enable the asset in here. So from here, yes. So this is the asset place. Okay. So here, what I'll do is I'll simply uncomment this. So we have our asset, and under our asset, let me add the folder asset here so that it will actually append to everything inside the asset folder. So assets, perfect, and then I add a slash here. Okay, so now it can actually read the files we have in our assets folder. So let me see here. You need to be very sure of the, let me see, this should go on. Yes, and we have only, should be two spacing, yeah, below the assets. Yeah, if you don't get it right, your assets are actually not going to display. So you need to make sure you have the indentation right. Very, very important. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we have two assets in here which we're going to use. So I step into the lib, and with the lib, what I'll do is to clear most of the junk codes here, all the junk codes, and then we can actually begin from scratch. But let me leave this at the top. It's gonna be a stateless widget, so instead to clear everything in here, let me be a bit lazy here, and then try to clear the things that we don't actually need in here. Okay, so what we don't need here is probably, let me see, let me clear this home. Yes, scaffold is here. Let me see, make sure I don't leave any errors. Okay, boom. Okay, all right, so our home is there. We don't need a home, so we can leave this whatever we want to call it, but let's call this probably the music app. This will not show on the application, you should know this. And okay, let me clear everything in here. Okay, so now we are in our material app, and then we have I don't want the banner to show on the screen. But before that, let me actually take this off. Don't need this, and I'm actually going to run the app so that it will be set for us as we are developing, then we can be checking alongside. Okay, so I save this and then I run. Yeah, so what are we going to do next? First, I want to take the banner from the what? From the screen so that we don't see the banner from the screen. So let me actually do that here. And to do that, you need to add what we call the debug checked banner. You set that to false. Okay, good. Then for the theme, let me use primary color. Okay, blue is okay. Let's just leave it like this. We leave that like this. Okay, so after the theme, this project I like it to use the route navigation instead of the normal push and pop for our Flutter project. So let's use after our theme data, we leave everything just like that. And then after our theme data, I'm gonna use the route, and this we're gonna create maybe 2 or 3 files. No, maybe two will be okay for this project. So route, and for the route you need to use the curly brackets for the route, and then we're gonna set our route. But before that, let me predefine the name before we even create the folder. Okay, so let me say we have our first one will be our default our default route here, and what we'll do is to call the context. This is how we define the route for this type of navigation in Flutter, and this is a fat arrow. So I'll simply create 2 files. One will be home and one will be start. The start will be simply the get started. So okay, this have finished running, so I can actually create the folders now. Let me go to explore file, sorry. Okay, so we have our main here, and then I'm gonna add another file. We're gonna call it stat dot dat. Okay, stat dot dat. Perfect. And then I'm gonna create another dat file. I'm gonna call that main. Yes, I should, let me call it main dot dat. So this is actually gonna house the player. Make sure you have only one dot here. Oh, main, not main. Let me keep it as home. It's not possible to create main. Home. Perfect. Okay. So now we have the 2 files which we actually gonna navigate. Let me pull this one here. Let me close this side. Okay. I drag this one here. I close this. Perfect. Okay, so since we already have the files, we have to actually refer that here using the what? First, I copy this. We're gonna have two. One will be the default, and one will be the one we'll be referring to, which we are calling that the home. So I leave this as home. Okay, perfect. But in order for us to, for the main to show the default UI, we need to use the initial route to set that, so that anytime you run the main, you are actually going to see the what, the initial file. So we use the slash. So this slash actually means going to the first file as the default, and then the others will be the push names. Okay, good. So before we actually finish this side, let's add a stateless widget in these two what, in these two uh, no, let me just create a stateless widget, so that, let me to copy. So first, let me import our important package, and we use the Flutter slash material. Okay. So next, what we'll do is to what am I going to do here? Let me create a stateless widget here. Stateless, and I'm gonna call this stat. That's a stat file. Simple. Okay, so this one is set. The next one, let me open the home. Okay, and the home, I'm gonna do the same thing. Let me be lazy, copy this and then paste it in here. Okay, the next one is to add another stateless, and this is actually going to be called home. Home with what? The big what? Big cap. And that's that. So home. Perfect. Let me leave these pages blank now. Okay, why did I create this? Because I want you to know how to actually use the what, the route or the route as what, as the navigation for this what, Flutter project. So for the home, we need to first set the default, and the default route will be what, will be actually be the stat inside the folder, the stat inside the file, sorry, and next one will be our home, and this is home inside our home file. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we get the two sets now. So now our routes are okay now, and it has already imported this for us because I selected from the drop down. So imported of what, home, and then the stat.dat. So everything looks fine here. Now let's step into the stat. In the start, we already have the stateless widget in here, and everything is perfectly fine. So what we're gonna do, instead to return a container, we're gonna return a scaffold rather. Okay, so scaffold here, and inside the scaffold we need to actually give the background of black, because we want the background to be black, as you can see here, because we are doing it for the first one. So we use colors dot what, dot black. Let's use this black. Perfect. I save, and then okay, it's still black because nothing is on the screen. Then next is we need to actually add the body to the body of the page. So this body, it's gonna use a stack, it's gonna use a stack widget, and this stack widget will be having children in here because we want to stack the stuff over each other. Okay, so we use the stack widget. Okay, so inside the stack widget, what we have to add first is what, is our children, and we're gonna have other widgets inside the children. So our first child inside the children will be, let's add a container. Yeah, let's add a container for this container, and for our container we actually gonna have the decoration for our container, and then we use the box the box decoration. Good. So we are decorating our first container on our screen, and for the box decoration, we first have to use the image for our our background here. So we use the decoration image here, and inside we have the image, and we need to pass one asset to this. Need to pass one asset to this. So this image. Okay. So how to call this image is to simply add the assets. We add assets image. Okay, so we use this one, and in here will be the location of the image, and this one will be assets as in the folder, and then the file name, and the file name is stat dot. We use let me see, is it dot png or what? Okay, stat.png. Perfect. Okay, so png here. Okay, then I put a comma here. Okay, so I save this. Okay, perfect. So boom, we've actually seen this, and what we want to do for this is to add our get started button, and this is actually going to navigate to our main music interface. So we have the background, but we want this to actually cover the entire page based on the screen. So I want to add what we call the fit, and this fit will help us cover the entire page irrespective of the screen size of the mobile device. Okay, so fit, then we use fit cover. Yes, perfect. And then I give it column. Perfect. Okay, so this is more cool. Next will be us doing let me see, what we have to do is to add. Next is to look at adding a button on top of it, this one. So let's get it done. To get this one done, we need to use an elevated button, and to use the elevated button, let's go below this container. Okay, so below this container, we actually gonna first add an expanded widget to make sure our page does not overlap, so that we don't get any overloaded button or something like that on our page. So first, let's use the expanded, and inside the expanded we'll have a child of align. Let's use align because we want our button to actually be beneath the the page. So I use the align, and to actually make sure the button is a persistent below the screen, we use the alignment, and then this alignment we're gonna add what we call the functional offset. Functional functional offset. No, let's use this. We use fractional. Yeah, sorry. Fractional offset. Good. And this fractional offset, we're gonna do the fractional offset dot button center. Yes, perfect. This is good for us. And then let me add a child to this. The child will actually be the actual button. So I'm gonna use the elevated button, and then we have the unpress and one child. For the unpress, let me first add this first, and this child will be our test widget, and this test widget will be the inscription. So say test. What is gonna go in here will be get, oh, where's my G? Get started, okay? That we can see on the picture I just showed. So we have the get started, and for the get started, I think we should style this a bit by adding a color. So we need to add a style to this, and this style, yeah, test style, okay, test style. And what we'll do in the test style is simply check the color. So what color should we use? Let's use black for the test color. Yeah, so we use colors. You go colors dot black, okay. Yeah, because the button will actually be white, so we need to actually keep the text on it to be black. So how do we actually bold in the text on this? Let me run this to see what we have. No, this is wrong. Okay, good. I run this to see what we have now. Okay, perfect. So we have this button here, but I don't want us to keep the button this way. This color will not really match our design because we are following this here. Okay, good. So now, what should I add next? Next, let me add a font weight to this so that it will be a bit bold. So font, no, capital font weight, and the font weight we use the bold. So font weight dot bold, and that is fine. Good. Next is to what? Now we have the font weight for the text. Everything is good. Okay. After the text, now we want to add what we call the styling of the button. So we need to first call the style, and this will be the style for the elevated button. So I'm typing this at the wrong place. Okay, good. So here, let me add the style. Okay, and this will be elevated button. Yeah, elevated button. Let me use this, but we're gonna add dot star to this elevated button dot star, and inside we need to set the primary color of the button. So I call primary, and then I call colors dot what, you want to keep it white, so you say color dot white. Okay, perfect. Let's use the default white. That's okay. Good. Now let's see the changes on the screen. Okay, perfect. So we got our first design done, but we should make sure this is actually linking to the second page. Nothing happens here. So what do? We need to use the push name here, and to use the push name, we simply we can do this inside this double curly bracket, but why don't we use the fat arrow to keep it a bit simple? So we use the navigator. We use the navigator dot, we use dot push what, push name, because this we are using the route. So for the push name, it has two parameters, the context, and then what we actually have to change is the route name, right? So what is gonna be the root name? The root name will simply be our what? Name, this one. So if you check the main, you can see the second what file links to this, so we simply use this and we want to call that. Perfect. Make sure the code is perfectly done. So this is perfect now, and let me save this. What is it saying? Performing a reload. Actually drag this. Let me close this. Okay, so it was performing a reload. Let me see. Boom. Okay, we go to the next page, but there's nothing on the other page, so it becomes blank, right? Okay, so let's now develop this page. Okay, so this is actually the home. So the home is what we are going to develop now, and this is the screen we're going to work on. So first, let's look at the app bar. The app bar has a back button, and then it has now playing at the top. It has a share button and then a favorite icon. So let's tackle that first. Okay, so here should we return this is a stateless widget. Stateless widget. Okay, let's convert this to stateful widget. Perfect. All right, so let's use the stateful widget. So inside the stateful widget, what I'm gonna do is to first check our background first. So instead to return container, let's return a scaffold. Scaffold, perfect. Okay, first we return a scaffold, and let's deal with the background color. We want to keep our background black for across board. So dot black. Okay, perfect. Let me save this and see what we have on the screen. Still black. Good. Next is to add our what? App bar. Okay, so app bar. Okay, good. So we have the app bar here. What are we gonna add to the app bar? Like I said, we're gonna add a back button here, and then we're gonna add our what? Title and the rest. Okay, so first we wanna keep our background with the scaffold with the app bar the same. So we need to make sure our app bar also have the background color, which has the same property to this as well. And then elevate the elevation of our what? Of our app bar. We are setting that to 0. We don't want any elevation here, so I set it to 0. Then we add a title of our app bar, and this title is simply using a text widget, and this text widget will have our data in here, and the data will be what? Now playing. Now playing. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, after the now playing, we need to actually set this now playing inside the app bar, but we make sure we need to actually position it right in the middle, otherwise it's gonna fall on the left, which we don't want. We want it to look like this design. Okay, so good. So let me use the center. I set first, need to set the center. This is the British center. Okay, American center. Then center title, and this it's gonna be true. Perfect. Good. So this is gonna be in the middle. So let me run this and let me see what's on the screen. Okay, good. So we got it. We get the now playing there, and then it's actually in the middle as well. So next, what we'll do is to add our what? Our leading button. We have a default one which goes back and is okay, but we want to change it a little bit to suit our design since we are using this icon here. So let me actually add that using the leading, and the leading will have the icon button. And with the icon button, we have the first argument is the onPress. The second one is actually the icon. So let's target the icon first. So we have icon. No, let me use capital here. Icon. Okay. So for icon, we're gonna have this. Okay, so for the icon, let me see. Let's add icons dot arrow back iOS. Yes, we want to use that one, and then we actually gonna size it. So we use the size property, and we use 15. Let's size it to 15, and then let's see how it looks on the screen. So Command S, I reload again. Oh, have an error. Okay, what we actually have to do here is to actually point it to the back. No, we should use the back navigator for this so that it will actually take us back, or to pop whenever we actually click on this. So on the on press, I will use this inside this. Let me use the navigator. Okay, navigator dot. This should be capital. Navigator dot. We use the pop. Yes, and the pop has a context. That's all. Leave this like this. So we have navigator.pop. Okay, perfect. Not sure we terminated this very well. Let me check now whether we have the right design. Perfect. So this goes back. Okay, this goes there. Now what we have to do is to add, let me see the design. Okay, our share and favorite. But before we add a favorite, we need to, let me add this one here. We'll be having a star and a favorite, and then I want us to set that to false. And then we're gonna use some logic in the code. So let me first have this variables here set. So the first variable will be our favorite, and we say favorite star first. Favorite star. Okay, and this should be set to false. Perfect. The next one will be our favorite hat. So here will be hat. Yes, hat. Good. So we have the favorite hat here, and that is also set to false. Okay, perfect. Now we can use it here in our code. All right. So we have arrow set. Now we move to which one? Let's move to the share icon first, and that should be right beneath this. We have the icon button. Good, right beneath this, and we're gonna use the action. So action have children property here, so that means we can add more actions in here. So first I add the icon button here, okay, and this icon button, let's leave this some as an empty function, okay. Then for this side we need to actually add our icon there, icon, and then we add the icons dot share. So we add icons dot share, okay. Yeah, this is simply the icon we want to use. Let me see, icons dot share, but we make sure we actually wrap up this with the icon widget itself, one here and then one there. Okay, perfect. So we have this set, next what we're gonna do is to add the star. Now we have the share here, which we can see here. We have the share here. Now we should add the star. Okay, so to add the star we need to add another icon button in here, and the same like this, okay, and this, okay. Okay, perfect. So this, instead of use the share here, we're gonna change it using a simple logic in here, which will always set our what? Our star to false using a different icon, and to true using a different icon. So the icon, we want to use our favorite star, the variable I actually defined at the top here, this one first. So I would say I'm gonna use a ternary operator here, which is simply like an if statement. So I would say if the favorite star, let's watch it. If favorite star is equal to icons dot star, if our icon is equal to the favorite star, if it's clicked, then show this icons star. If it's on check or not clicked, then you need to show this kind of icon here, icon star underscore border. So don't show the star with the field color, but only show the star with the what? With the border. Okay, so we have two stars in our icon. Two stars, one is actually filled, means a full star, and then we have another one which only have the border with the inners not filled. So if it is selected, show this, or else show this, which is this star. Show this if it's clicked or tapped, show this if it is not clicked or on tab. That is why we set this to false. So always it's gonna show this, and this is always true when it's clicked. So if it is false, then it will show this. If it is true, then it's gonna show this. Perfect. So I save this, and then we see good. So we have our star in here. Okay, nothing is happening because I need to actually add some logic here. I need to add some logic here. Okay, so we said on the on press. Now there's no on press activated for this, so if you click, there's nothing happening here. Okay, so what I have to do with the on press inside, let me add a simple logic in here. where it's gonna be the what? The set state, because our state is changing. That is why we use the stateful widgets instead of the stateless, so that we can simply change this icon into the full star or the stars with the border. All right. So in here, for this set states, we're gonna say if our favorite star, which is already set to false, is equal to what? Equal to false, then that is the else. Else we will show our favorite star equal to what? Equal to true. That means it's gonna actually show true. Perfect. All right. So what this is doing, this set state is doing, is that anytime this is clicked, our favorite star, it's clicked, it re-renders or rebuild that part of the user interface, and then check if this was clicked. It should show the full star as we have here, and if this is not clicked, it should show the border what? The border star, which is the same here. So if it is false, it's showing this. If it is true, it is also showing this, but it will go to this side of the what? Of the code. Okay, so I'm gonna try this one more. Okay, perfect. So we have it fixed there. So now if I click on this like this, it's actually what? True. So it's giving us a full star. On click is false. So it gives us what? This star with the border here. True, false, true, false. Perfect. Good. Next, what we're gonna do is to, let me check the design. Okay, so we are done with the what? The app bar side. Now let's actually look at the album side and then get down to this side. Okay, so for the album side, let me see the album side. Okay, now for the album side, we're gonna add that to the body of the structure of the tree. So let's say body, and for the body, we're gonna actually add a container to this, and this will be our main frame. Yeah, main widget, and then here we will add a color, and the color of this container will be black because we want our app to have a uniform color, and this will be black. Yes, let's use the black 12. Good. The second one will be a child, and this child will be a pattern for us. Pattern. And, okay, so for our pattern, we're gonna have a constant edge insect around. We use, instead to use, or let's use the symmetric just around our album, and that is gonna be a simple one, a simple asset which we're gonna import. So we say our album is gonna be a symmetric with a horizontal of probably 30.0 because it's a double. So I add a 0 there. Now let's add a column to our container. Okay, so after the symmetric, we add a column to our container, and we need to call the child widget first, and then we add the column. Okay, perfect. Column is here. And for the column, we're gonna have our children inside our column, and inside our children we need to actually add a size box so that it will have some space at the top of what, at the top of our app bar, and then in between the album, so a space here so that the app bar will be at the top. We have some space before the album. Okay, so let me add this here using the size box. Okay, this one. And the size box, let's use height to separate this, and let me use 30.0 because it's also a double. Perfect. Next is to add a row, because we need to add a row because these are albums need to be inside a column in a row. Yeah, so let me add the row quickly. Here I add row. Good. And for our row, we're gonna use the main axis alignment and the main axis alignment, but this we're gonna use dot center so that our album will be in the row in the center. And let's have children for this row, and the first widget will be a clip R React. Okay, and for our clip R React, we're gonna have border radius, because we want the borders to be a bit curvy, even though we cannot see it well, but we can see it's a bit curvy here. So we use the border radius for that. So border radius, then we go border radius dot circular. Okay, and then we set the radius to value of 25.0 is a double. Okay, then the next one is to add a child to this, and this child will actually be the album image. Okay, so we have image, and for the image first we have to add the link to the image, or where we can find the image. But let me leave this first. Maybe I'll create a simple class to handle this. But before that, we want the image to be well fitted, so I use the fit, and then we use the box fit dot cover. Perfect. And I need to also check our width, and the width should actually take care of the screen. Irrespective of the screen, this should display really well. So I use the media query dot off context, and after the context we add the size to be uniform, so size dot width, and this we're gonna set a very unique width to this, and this should be for all screen size, it should be 0.8 for all screen size. Yeah, for all screen size. Okay, but below this I want us to first create a class, and this class will actually house, it's gonna actually house the title of the song, the link, and then all that. Why I'm doing this, because if you are calling this from an API, this should be very easy to call in your project, since we want to do a sample of this so that you can actually call songs from API or any other model. I'm keeping a class here so you can have a class of song, and this song inside here, let's have a string of first the title of the word of the song. So I call it the title, And this title, I'm gonna use one of my favorite title. Song's title is No Pressure. So, and next, so we can always call this and append it to this variable and use it in our code, being it API, being it model or whatever, using a class to call that. So since this is a demo, I want to go straight forward and try to finish it very fast. Okay, so another string will be what? Our singer name. Okay, so the name of the singer. Then we're gonna add the name. The name of this singer, it's called Sarkodie. Okay, and next will be our assets. Our assets will be where we are locating the image, what? The image of the album. This can be a network image or whatever. Yeah, but for the sake of this this design, we want to use the internal assets, and you can always change this at any time and it should work very fine. You can use the network, you can use the API image or whatsoever, and it should work very fine. Okay, so assets, then we use asset image. Good. And here let's call the URL. Bear in mind you can use the network asset as well, and it should work fine. And then here's dot cover dot p jpg. Perfect. Here should be this is what? Assets. Okay, asset image. Correct. So the class is done. So what we'll do here is to now call this image here using the assets name we have already called down there. So let me see. So first I need to call the class name, and that is song, right? And song is the class name. What property or role do we want inside? We want what? The first one will be let me see, will be the image. Okay, so the album cover. Perfect. Let me see. This is album cover. Okay. Okay. Let me watch here again. Let me check this media query. Okay, so media. Oh, I use double. Okay, now let's see what's going on the screen. Let's see whether we are on the right path. Okay, perfect. So now we got the album here, just like this. Perfect. Okay, so we are done with the up bar. Now we are done with the middle of the page, that is the album section. What we should be tackling now, let me look at the image, is to check the title of the song. Title of the song, and then we should check this what? This favorite icon. Then we will check the name and then the rest of this. Okay, so let's continue. Good. So after the row, the rest of this should also take another row. Yes. another row for the rest of it. So I'm gonna add a row here. Okay. And for this row, first, before I add a row, let me add a widget around this. The first widget around this row would be what we call the expanded. We want to prevent the overloaded button, so I use first the expanded widgets. So we have a row. Okay, first let me use the single chart scroll view here so that we can prevent the overlapping of the stuff. So I use the single chart scroll view instead to use the row direct. Then inside I'm gonna add the expanded widget, and this will be a child of this. Okay, so let me add this expanded, yes, and the child of this expanded will actually be a container. Yes, good. After this container, what we're gonna have in is the column, and this column will also be a child of the container. Good. So column. Good. Now let me save this. Okay, so inside the column, what we're gonna have is first make sure we have our main axis set well, main axis, and then main. This main axis will be set to from the end. Okay, so after this column, we'll be having children in here, and our first child will be, so let me add children. And the children, we should have a row here, so that everything in here will be in a container but inside a column, and in the column should be in a row. Okay, good. So for our row, what are we going to add in here? First, we need to set the main axis for our row, and this main axis will be what? Let's use the space between. Yes, we want space to be between what we are about to add. And what next? First, we're gonna add our song title. To do that, we need to make use of the text widget. Text widget, but text widget. No, let me add children first, and then I add a child here. Child. Let me see. Children first. First one, I add text, and here will actually be our song title. Yeah, so let me call song title. So I call the class, then I add the title. Good. Okay, so we have the song title. What else are we looking at? We have this here, song title. The next one we should be looking at is this. So we need to have this icon here after the song title. So let me first see what we have on the screen so that I'll see whether we have to do any changes to this before. Reload. We need to check the color because it's still not showing. So let me add the text style to this first. So first let me add a style here, and then I'll add a text style. And this text style, we need to look at the color of our text style, and then this will go colors dot. We need to use white so that it appears, because default it's black, so it's not gonna show. So white here, and let me add some font size, and I'll set the font size to 25.0.0 25.0. Okay, perfect. Now let me save this so that we see what is happening on the screen. Perfect. So we have our album here. That is the name of the song, or the song title. Next is to add a button to this. So right beneath the text widget, let's add our icon. We use the icon button. Okay, so we have the on press, which we might not use, and then we have the icon here. Okay, so for this one, yes, maybe we'll add the logic to this one, so it's okay to use. Let's deal with the icon first. So the first one, we want to add our icon here, and this icon inside will be having a simple logic to control our icon. Okay, so first we'll be using a hat at the top. This one, we already set this to false. Where is that? This one. Okay, so we're gonna have the same logic we had for our star. Okay, first. Okay, so here we have the hat here, and we're gonna use the ternary operator. We said if this is this, then else show this. So icon dot favorite icon. Okay, favorite. Next we have icons dot what, dot favorite, but this time around we're gonna have the border one. Okay, favorite, border one. Perfect. Then the border one, we're gonna add a color to that. Let's add a color to this icon, and the color will be colors dot. We use the same white here. Okay, perfect. Now for our onPress, we need to add the if statement, which we did at the top there, the same. Okay, so anytime we press it, something should happen, so we use the set state. And for our set state, we're gonna say if our favorite heart is equal to false, else it should be equal to true. Okay, good. So we are done with this. Make sure this is equal to. Okay, perfect. On press. Okay, perfect. So let's see what we've done so far. Okay, good. So we have our favorite and it's working just like what? The star up there. Perfect. Next is to add a row for this. Good. So to add a row, right beneath this arrow, let me save this. Right beneath this arrow, we're gonna add another row, and this will be the what? The name, or the, yeah, the single name that we actually have in the class. Okay, so let me start with another row. Okay, and with this row we first have children. Okay, and in the children we call our class songs, call our class songs dot single name. Okay, perfect. And then we have the style. Style, we're gonna add a star to it, so we call, let me see what's wrong. We need to make sure this is actually inside the test widget, so we call it test widget. Okay, then we copy all this inside test widget. Perfect. Now we're gonna add a star to this. Okay, and this star will be a tester. Okay, tester, and for the tester we're gonna actually use a color, and this color will be a hex code. Okay, so color, the color, then this color will be a text code, so let me add this here. Color, and this text code hex code will be using this hex code, which is kind of let me see, yeah, this kind of light, kind of green blue, yeah, and we can do that using this hash code, and we can pick this color from Photoshop or online hash code too, and this will work perfectly fine for us. Any color of our choice, yeah, but I, yeah, so we use this particular color. Good. So this is the style and the color for it, but let me add a font. Yeah, at least we need to control the font size, so I add font and we use the font size, and let's keep this as 15 normal, a bit above the normal font size. Okay, let me save. We see what happened on the screen. Okay, good, we have this here. So what we want to do next is to add a clip R below the row, so that we can have this effect here, this effect here. So I'm gonna use a clip R to do that. Okay, so beneath the row, let's call the clip R React. Yes, let's use the clip R React, and inside the clip R React we're gonna add some borders in here, so that will be the border radius, and we're gonna have the border radius set to, let's use circular, so that all the side will be in a circular shape, and the value we use is 5.0, sorry, and then we're gonna have a child, and this child will have a linear, we use linear progress indicator here. Linear progress indicator, where is that? Yes, this one. Linear progress indicator, and here let's control how this side looks like, the color here and this side. Okay, so inside the linear progress indicator, first we need to have what we call our background, so that it will be the default color for all the progress bar, and we should set these two colors, colors dot gray, as we can see here, this gray. Okay, now we have the gray, and this gray, it will basically take over the whole linear indicator. Let me reload this. Okay, it's let me see, that's a problem here. Dot all, no, dot all will not work. Let's use circular, circular, okay. Circular. Okay, so I save this, we see what happens. Perfect, so this is what we were looking for. Okay, so now we have the indicator at least showing the gray with something moving up and down it. Now if we want to keep it like this, then we need to add what we call the value color to this. Okay, so after the gray, let's add value color. Okay, and this value color, we want to always stop the animation, which is actually happening here. So we need to use always always stop animation, always stop animation, this one, and the value will be the color, and we're gonna keep this using the hex code. So this same hex code we are using here, let me copy it over here. Okay, so let me see what's wrong here. To bring this column here. Okay, and let me see. Okay, let me double check this very well. Okay, I leave this like this, but let me first set the value of this stop. So I set the value first. Let me see the value, and let's say the value of it should start from 0.4 or 0.4, and then we're gonna have the minimum height of our indicator. We set that to 10.0. Okay, so I check the color again. Color, oh, this should be a cup. Perfect. Okay, I save, then we see what we're gonna have here. Okay, perfect. So just like what we are looking for here. Perfect. Okay, good. Next is to check this one out, this side, this, and then this side out. So what are we gonna do? What we're gonna do is, after the clip R, we need to actually look at this using, yeah, they are just two numbers. So what we'll do is I'll use a pattern here. Pattern, good. this, we're gonna have an internal pattern, so it's gonna be an edge insect around it. So let me use a constant here, and then I call the edge insect. Should we use around, or no, let's use the symmetric. Okay, good. So the symmetric, and then we're gonna leave it in a vertical direction, and this we set this to 10.0 because it's the double. Okay, let me pull the code here, pull that one here. Perfect. Okay, so now we have our pattern set that we're going to use for the numbers below. So this one, we need to add a row inside the pattern widget. Okay, and let's keep this as a child. So row, inside the row, what we'll have is to first make sure our max alignment is really set well. So max alignment, and then we're gonna do space between, space between, because we want to have an effect like this with space between number here and then the number there. Okay, good. So after the space between, let's add children in the row, and our first child will be a test widget, and the data in here will be what to appear on the screen. So first we're gonna use a simple numbers, but this will be a decimal number. So for example, we say this is 1.25, okay, 124. Okay, good. Then let's add a star to this, and we say test star. So test star. Okay, test star. And for the test star, it will actually have the color, and this color will use the same color code here. Perfect. Okay. Then the next one, we need to repeat the same the same test widget. Make sure you have a comma here. Then this will actually be 1.48, whatever you want to give it. It doesn't matter, 1.48. But I'm following the design, so I keep it that way. Good. Now I save and I run. Let me see what we're gonna see on the screen. Boom. So we actually have this one there, this one there. Perfect. Now it's left with the last widget, and the last widget, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna use some icons to represent display here. Okay. So after the pattern, we're gonna have another row to cater for this one. Very easy. Okay, so first we add a row. Inside the row, we have a main axis alignment, and this we need to keep it space around. Yeah, we use the space around. Yes, because we want a space around the internal one, and every item in that row should have some space around it. Okay, so next, after a space around, we also have to do a cross alignment, and this cross alignment will help us to center all the items or the asset on the screen. So we use the cross alignment center. Perfect. Good. And we need to now add our children, and the first child will be the icon button. Mm. And this icon button will have on press and the icon itself. Okay, but we're gonna keep this empty function now. And for the icons, what we'll do is to add icon widget. Yes, this one. Then we'll set the icon inside this one. So we'll say icons dot arrow. So we'll have arrow back. We use the arrow back. Let me see this arrow back. Arrow back. Yeah, let's use the arrow back, not the new one. Okay, perfect. Then we want to add some color to our icon here. We'll add some color here. So let me see. Here, let me add a color here to this. Yeah, we want it to look pure white. So add a color. And this will be colors dot white. Okay, perfect. Colors dot white. Okay, so let me save this and see what we have on the screen. Okay, good. So we have our first icon here, and next is the second icon. Okay, so our first icon button will be here. Let me give a comma, and I copy this and then paste again because we're gonna use only copy and paste. Good. What we're gonna do here is to simply add change the icon and then add the size to be a bit bolder than the other one. So here I'm gonna add instead to use the arrow, I'm gonna use the play icon. So play arrow, yes, play arrow rounded. Yes, you use this play arrow rounded. Let me see. Yeah, play arrow rounded. Let me see first. Okay, yeah, perfect. And then we'll add the color of white, which is already there. And what we'll do is to add a size to this, but before, let's see what's on the screen. Let's see first. Oh yeah, so this one we have this icon here, but this is too small. So a, let's add a size to this so that at least it's gonna be a bit bigger in the middle. So we use the icon size, icon size, icon size, icon size. Icon size, icon size. So icon size. Icon size. Let me be a bit sure about this. So icon size, icon size, icon size, icon size. Icon size. Okay. Let me see. Icon size, icon. No, okay. Icon size. Icon size needs to be here. Yes. icon size, and then let's give it 70.0. Yeah, perfect. Let me save this and see what happens. Okay, good. So we have this big icon on the screen, exactly what we're looking for. And the next one is to add other arrow. So we need to actually copy this and then paste it at the end of this, and we will be virtually done. Good. So the same, I save this, then I see. Oh, good. But this actually turned to the other side. We need to use, instead to use the back, we need to use the forward. Yeah, we need to use the forward for this. Let me see. This should be forward. Let me see. Arrow forward. Forward. Forward iOS. It's rounded. Okay. Let me see this. Perfect. Okay. So we are done with this. So we actually tackle the app bar, the album side. We look at the title of the song, and then we look at the progressive indicator with the title of the song, and then the number of minutes that has played and a number of minutes left, and then we added the forward and backward icons, and then we added the play icon here. Perfect. So we're gonna end this video. You can add a lot of touches to this and also add some list of songs which can play in this, which I'm not gonna cover in this part of the tutorial. And if we have more requests on this saying that we should add a list of songs, then we're gonna add it later. So let me actually go through this. So what we have is to click on this, and then it's gonna take you there, back, take you there, and this really looks awesome. We actually want comment on this, and also if you have any suggestions, you can actually write it in the comment box below. If you want us to upgrade this and add list of the song, you can also comment down there, and we're gonna release the part 2. Peace. I'm out.